Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with episode 2 of Walks with Schla. And today is going by okay. But like I said, it's only Tuesday, so that's not really the greatest sign because we're not even through the halfway thick of it yet. So hopefully this kind of energy maintains into tomorrow. Because I think as long as I could get through tomorrow with this same level of spirit, I think that would be a good thing. You know, that would really be the heavy shot. You know, so we'll keep it in mind. We'll definitely keep things in mind. Try to keep my head up. Try to keep things light. I'm already kind of doing that. I mean, I feel relatively okay about things. You know, I don't feel too. I mean, what have I been thinking about? I'm just thinking about a lot of the same stuff I'm usually thinking about. How I think you really just have to like redistribute resources based on who deserves them, not just based on who happens to have them, and like that kind of stuff. Like that's just been going through my head while I was eating lunch and in general, wishing that was like the reality that we had now. I don't really think too much else has been going on in my brain. You know, I'm really just trying to take it easy, guys. I'm really just trying to take it easy. Not any new crazy theories. No, I've already figured out the perfect system, you know. I already figured out the perfect system. Oh, the other thing I was thinking about too is just America's aversion to rules and how the impression I get is that most people in America, they're either it's like either people who I guess ignorantly indulge in the yeah, you have two kinds of people, and obviously the majority falls on the lesser side of this. But you have people who think freedom is a good thing and they're actually victims of it. Like, they're not better people because they drink soda, or they're not better people because they drink alcohol. Their lives are fundamentally worse. They're objectively worse. I don't think there's any way to, like, debate that. I mean, of course, everybody's experience, you only know what you know, so it's to a person, it's not going to matter, and blah, blah, relativism. But that's just kind of, I think that's just kind of beating around the bush. I don't really, I don't know. I think we know these things are objectively worse, and we're going to eventually have a system where we would have control to just, like, restrict people's autonomy or purchasing powers. We're not really that far from that. With cameras and microphones popping up all over the place, more and more things being tracked, you know, it would get to the point where it's like, well, why don't we just make all this stuff illegal? Because, you know, there are a few ways around transactions, I guess, with certain kinds of crypto, but most people are just not going to go through the effort of doing that. So you definitely, I think you absolutely could see broad bans on, I don't know, that just sounded like broadband. That kind of like threw me off. Like, it sounds kind of funny. I meant broad bans, as in like banning stuff on certain products, or, you know, the obviously it would be like drugs and alcohol and things like that. You really could just get away with banning them, and for most intents and purposes you could really snuff out like a black market even emerging. And that's something that really wasn't possible before, but it's absolutely going to be possible now. I mean, we're definitely going to reach a point where a lot of these ideas are going to be completely possible. And I guess the problem is if America continues its belief that freedom is a good moral, it's going to lead to America's collapse. And this is another thing that GPT might argue with me over, but I'm sure they would agree that it's a nuanced point. I mean, I would obviously also say that, in some sense, compromising everybody's autonomy unconsensually in this current paradigm, it seems like a pretty evil thing to do, but you have to look at the broader picture. If we don't do it, another country will. And so what already is probably going to happen is China will be a lot more tech forward. They have so many more people living there. Their people are much better educated, and they have a much more restricted society. And I think they're just going to outlast America. The only reason why America is able to hold on as well as it does is just because we already have so much wealth already concentrated here. It's like, of course, because it's already here. Like, you can't just topple an empire overnight. We still have probably some decades of time left, just because so much money is here and it's securely here. But that doesn't mean that America is just set. We definitely, you have to have some kind of growth at the same time. You can't just cling on to that forever, especially because, like I said, I think in the future you're going to look into property seizure, and when that happens, America gets the worst of it, because America's the biggest proponent of just a bunch of people having a bunch of money and then not really doing anything tangibly with it. It would probably be redistributed to other countries, because there's no reason why somebody in America just has a bunch of money because their dad had a bunch of money, and then they just get to live a real, no, that's going to get stripped away. And so you have to think about the consequences of that, because there are very real consequences to that system. It's true. I don't know. But what I was going to say is, because what? Can you say it again? I don't know. I don't know. No. Yeah, sorry, somebody just asked me something. I don't know. That was kind of weird, but not the... I've thought about this before. I think people see me walking around and they think I'm some kind of a expert or something. And so it's yeah, I don't know. I'm not really an expert, though. I don't really know where stuff is, honestly. Kind of just in my head. But anyways, what I was about to talk about is how there's two kinds of people. It basically, America operates off this principle of the predator and the predatee. No, why am I not figuring out the predator and the prey? America has these two segments of people, predator and prey, and on one hand you're rewarded for being a predator, for looking to ways to think of a scheme to get money out of people, and whether it's good or not doesn't matter. The obvious example I think I said recently was the thing about what was the thing about? It was like restaurants, right? And how Coca-Cola or lemonade or these different drinks have the highest margins for return. They have the highest profit margins, but they're obviously not good. Like, they're not good things, right? They're like some of the least healthy because it's liquid sugar. It hits your bloodstream really fast and hard. It's probably worse than, you know, eating like something that just has sugar in it, which at least, you know, ice cream, yeah, it's got sugar, but it's also got protein. It's also got other stuff. It doesn't just like slam your body in the same way. And then so we come up with an addictive substance that we know is unhealthy and then sell it. And then now you're like, oh, well, you're good at business. And so then that's seen as a good thing, right? It's seen as a good thing for someone to be a good businessman. So somebody who can turn a profit. But they're not. Like, they're not a good person. They're not. They're like, you're like a pretty bad person for perpetuating that. I know people say, well, it's people's own decisions and like everybody could be healthy if they wanted to, and it's just like the company. No, I mean, these companies really should just get shut down. A lot of people are not. Well, and this is kind of the irony, because we talk about like compromising autonomy, and GPT is like so against it, but people already like, who has an uncompromised autonomy? You know what I mean? Like, I've never even heard of that, because that's kind of what we're talking about with a lot of these discussions. Is it's like people are not thinking for themselves. They're not really making correct decisions. They basically don't have autonomy. I mean, I could easily make the argument that in a society at this point, where you have like a bunch of fast food joints at every turn, you have a bunch of convenience stores at every turn, you have lots of unhealthy options where it's easier to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy. It's much easier to just eat unhealthy. What is going to happen if you just put humans in that kind of a system? I mean, it's not surprising, is it? So what does that show? It shows that humans don't really have autonomy, because they're kind of just making choices based on these like really carnal, really animalistic, like, oh, this food tastes good, so I'm going to do this. That doesn't make any sense. That just doesn't make any sense. It's like, I think that's like crazy that, again, I'm criticized for, let's implement a system where we take people's autonomy, and instead of automating it for destruction, it's automated for good. Why is that seen as, why does GPT get all scared about that, but GPT's not going to call out the system we have now, where again it's engineered for bad outcomes from its foundation, right? From its foundation, you're getting bad outcomes out of the current system. And it's just not, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's more innocent when it's like in the past, where it's just like in smaller ways, where, yeah, it's like these little, like a few dollars here and there in a restaurant by selling unhealthy food. Like, it seems like pretty innocent, pretty simple. But then when it gets to the point where it's like, oh, well, now you have like health insurance companies that are for profit, then now it's not about some like little guy trying to hustle up to get rich. It's like people who already have a ton of power just maintaining power off of a necessity. That's not really, you know, like, what is the merit to that? It just doesn't make any sense. So people are going to have to reckon with it one way or another, and whether it's people basically getting like dying. That's like a possibility. People we'll just have those beliefs and America will fall. They'll take it to the grave. They'll basically take this fake freedom to the grave. Or, what's the other option? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think where I was going with that. But yeah, I mean, that's like the ultimate. It's if people do not have autonomy, as is, you basically have like a enslaved system where we're going to see people, like a generation, already we're seeing it, of children where a lot or most of them are just like screen addicted. They don't really know themselves well. They never really made deep connections with friends, so they don't really have anybody who knows them well. And a lot of their relationships are just based on random activities, like playing games together or doing random activities together. And then everybody changes, everybody has different kind of things, but the universal point is, it's a lot of laziness, it's a lot of confusion, it's a lot of various mental health disorders. And I think I said it yesterday. I said, like, you're gonna need to have one of two things happen, because this can't continue at this rate. It just can't. You're gonna need to like massively expand welfare so that people can get through, like, because a lot of these people are just gonna be screen addicted. I don't know that this is coming out. I'm not explaining it in the best way. Let me try to figure this out. People, they're not in touch with their emotions, like, at all. I think it's probably lower than like ever before. The amount of time that is spent disconnected from the conscious self is extremely high, and it's something that we've never been able to do because there's never been that much distraction. But the way people are now, and that's not even to mention like the lifestyles people live, where it's like more and more now it's super possible to just destroy your sleep schedule, whereas that just wasn't really possible before. I mean, it's like, sure, you had these like little things like, wow, television, but just television is not stimulating enough. Like, you would eventually fall asleep, like if you're just watching a show, even if you really liked it. I feel like it's really difficult to stay awake. Like, I don't know. I guess that could just be my opinion. I mean, maybe there were some cases of people in the past who like had a hard time with just being addicted to just watching TV, but it's really been like, technology that you actually interact with. Even video games, I feel like I could make the argument that a video game is not too crazy. Like, it's like, yeah, it's more stimulating, but it's not remotely as stimulating as like what we have now or what kids have been raised on, which is, TikTok. Obviously, it's like kind of difficult. Like, you can use that instead of sleep, and it really hampers a lot of people's sleep schedules. And so you're having a lot of people who just have horrible sleep schedules, and there's no rule about it or anything. There's no regulation. And I feel like I was a victim of this to some extent. I mean, fortunately, I was kind of older, but yeah, I mean, I'd probably just be in a lot better shape if there had just been some kind of rule, like, countrywide, 8 p.m. everything gets turned off or something like that. I know that's scary to Americans, but it would help like a lot of people. Like, I think our country would still overall be better, So yeah, you're going to see these people mature into adults, and you really wonder what's going to happen to them. Like, we're going to start to see it, like I said, like 10 years, 20 years, it's really going to start hitting hard. And it's not fair. And a lot of the blood is on the hands of a lot of adults, but I also think it's probably on the government. But yeah, it's just not fair. And again, there's even like a lot of people who do make money, but they don't necessarily what's it called? I mean, they make money, but they don't. That doesn't mean they're like they're in touch with themselves. You know what I mean? Like some people from my generation or younger, like they're still doing okay, but they're, it's not like just because some people have, but most people aren't. Like a lot of people, I think I know more people who are financially unwell than well in my generation. I think there's a pretty big gap though. It's like I probably know 2 guys who have like a good amount of money, like a pretty good amount of money, and then everybody else I know is just like pretty broke. Like that's kind of like how it goes. Like everybody's really broke, and then there's like a very small amount of people who, they just have like a decent amount of money. Not anything crazy, but that's kind of the gist I get, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I think that sums up what I'm trying to talk about. It's like we're just gonna get left behind, and then you're gonna be handing. So here's the question for GPT. Like, because you're not willing to do the right thing, another country is potentially going to do more evil than we would have done. Although really it's I don't know. It's difficult to say that because I don't even know if we maintained power if we would do the right thing or not, right? Because the trajectory right now it's a pretty greed-ridden country. Like, I don't know. So I think it's difficult. I think it's tricky to point fingers and stuff. I don't really want to do that, but definitely willing to talk about things and some pretty major impending problems as more and more people grow up, and there's this growing minority percentage of the population that basically can't function. And I mean, who's going to take care of those people? How is that going to work? You know what I mean? It's just like, I just don't know. It's all stuff I'm aware of. I don't know if many other people are thinking about it, but you really wonder what people are thinking about. And that's what I say, like, America, we have a lot of wealth, so we're lucky, but a lot of people are kind of blowing it. They're kind of blowing it. And it's just, it's crazy. It's just really a lot of like crazy stuff. Anyways, it's been Schla, but now it's time to buy Schla. So, see ya, Schla.